Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. The disagreement between the president and his deputy has opened a Pandora's box. And by the end of this drama, we shall have known deep secrets that were hidden away from us. Because for the first time yesterday, Rigathi revealed to the nation that indeed someone tried to poison him, not once but twice. Because of that agreement, we were told earlier that it was Rigathi Gachagua that infiltrated the Gen Z protest in a bid to try and overturn Ruto's presidency. And so more are yet to come, especially now that the gloves are off and the battle lines have been drawn. I can assure you that they are going to reveal quite a lot. But it also confirmed to us our fears. You know, many people have always looked at the way William Ruto is running the government. He is micromanaging things. When you compare him to somebody like Uhuru Kenyatta, his predecessor, or the late president Mwai Kibaki, you will realize that there is a big difference. Uhuru Kenyatta was a hands-off man, and I'll give you an example. Do you remember how Professor Magoha used to run the education sector, or Fred Matiang'i? They were given the leeway, the opportunity to implement policies in their dockets. Mudaura has confirmed the same, that President Kibaki would give you a job and then allow you to do it. But William Ruto is a different kettle altogether. William Ruto gives you a job, but he will still go to negotiate for domestic workers in Dubai. Yet there is an ambassador there is a consulate or something there. He wants to do everything, and many people fear that he is doing this because he does not want someone to take political mileage. He believes that he should take that mileage for himself. And he also wants people he can control. Now, Rigathi Gachagua told us that William Ruto is such a dictator that when it gets to the cabinet, he wants his way or the highway. And if you try to challenge his intelligence, then you automatically become enemies. Because Rigathi was saying that he is the only, those are his words, he is the only man who can look at Ruto and tell him, brother, that is not the way to go. And he was telling us that William Ruto does not like this. Now, there is one thing that he said, that he is sure that if he goes, if the courts will rule that he's going home, then there is trouble in the cabinet and there is trouble in our governance structure, because there seems to be some leaked secrets that before you start working, you are forced as a cabinet, once you've been appointed and approved by parliament, before you begin working, you sign a letter. Apart from the contract letter that you are given, and the performance contract, if at all there is one, there is another wicked letter that you sign, and it is anticipatory resignation letter. It does not have a date. You are told, Frederick Achando, I resigned because of blah, 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 blah. And he is saying that this is done so that you are controlled, so that any day you start questioning him, then they will retrieve your letter, hand it over to you. It is already signed. They will simply insert dates and you are gone. Take a look.
Many of his people are calling here asking whether I'm dead, whether I'll survive, whether I'll recover. They were celebrating. It's the most unfortunate thing that has ever happened in this country. That you can be so vicious to a man who helped you to be president. And the crime of this man, telling you the truth. Don't evict people without compensation, Mr. President. Mr. President, don't overtax people. You are killing them. You are killing their businesses. Don't force a housing program on people. If people do not want these houses, don't force them. My only problem with the president is just being truthful, because nobody else can tell him. The framers of the 2010 Constitution wanted a deputy president who is elected as a buffer who can stand for the people. The charity we are being treated for, too, is get rid of an elected deputy president and appoint a control freak. A fellow you appoint who cannot ask a question, who cannot say anything. And I'm sure if they succeed, he'll be asked to sign an undated resignation letter, so that in case he starts asking questions, he can just be told to resign. But the framers of the 2010 Constitution were very clear in their mind why they wanted a deputy president who is elected. I'm the only man in the cabinet and in the whole government who can stand up to President William Ruto and tell him, hey brother, this is not right. This Adani thing is not good for the country. There's too much corruption, Mr. President. This housing thing is being forced down on the people of Kenya. And they don't like it. Please don't force it down on them. You know, situations where medical equipment that was being supplied by Kenyans to the Ministry of Health now has been given to one single Asian. I say, Mr. President, this is not right. We are killing our business people.
You know, I have always learned that I take with a pinch of salt whatever comes from the mouth of a politician, especially if a politician is under siege, the way Rigathi Gachagua is now under siege, then you might not trust what they're saying. But now you compare what you have seen, what you've heard, and what you hear people say, then you connect the dots. I have told you that William Samoei Ruto is the one who goes, launches everything, including, projects, small projects that happen at the constituency level. And at some point, I had a person asking, if you go to a level of launching those small projects, so what do you want the MP to launch, or a governor, for example? And the manner in which he goes in those countries to negotiate for those small jobs tells me that William Ruto is the kind of a man that Rigathi is talking about. I read somewhere, that was a nation, I think, that the members of the cabinet are complaining that they are unable to implement issues. They cannot, because it has to pass through William Samoei Ruto. The Attorney General, the former Attorney General, that is JB Muturi, once said that he's not being listened to, that William Ruto only listens to William Samoei Ruto himself. So with all this, we can add dots and connect that what Rigathi Gachagua was saying is true. Now, there is a big problem, because Rigathi is saying that at least when he was in that cabinet, he could look at Ruto and tell him, the demolitions is not going to work for us. The Adani deal is not good for Kenyans. Please refrain. But it's now saying that those people who have been left there will be, yes sir, rubber stamping everything. And it's saying that trouble is looming because William Ruto choreographed this intentionally and very deliberately, so that we go against the constitution, we impeach a duly elected deputy president, then we replace him with one who is appointed. You see, when you are appointed, you don't have authority. Remember, Rigathi was saying that he was elected by over 7 million people. They were elected together, and he takes pride in that. He brought some votes, and he has been given power by the Constitution of Kenya. But when you are appointed, you cannot cough. If you try, then you have that guilt conscience that why am I even complaining? Yet I was just appointed. There is no prestige that comes with it as the one who has been elected. You serve at the mercy of the president. It is like hire and fire, because truly speaking, you were never elected by any person. And he's saying that this is the predicament that Kithure Kindiki finds himself in. And you see, people are wondering, If Rigathi is saying that he can do this to Kithure Kindiki, what about the other members of the cabinet? Those ones that he picked because of the love, because you did something during the campaigns. What about them? Then we came to the conclusion that there could be a secret, you know, resignation letter, anticipatory, that you have to sign. And you see, when you sign this, you cannot complain, because the day you complain, unapewa. They issue with that resignation letter. In fact, they insert, just like I said, some dates there. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is the trouble that we find ourselves in. And it's saying that we need someone who can look at Ruto in the eye and tell him. Remember, I have always complained in this channel, on this platform, that we need someone who can look at the king and tell him, "You are naked." The problem that we have with most of those who are around the president, they tell him even when he's naked that you are adorned in your Sunday best, and that is not how we are supposed to work. You know, a cabinet is a place where people need to discuss. When you have a policy, then you discuss it at that level. That's why you hear that it was passed at a cabinet level. But it can only be passed when people discuss. You can oppose. You must be given that freedom, because we believe that you are appointed there as an expert, so that if Ruto brings something, you have to look at the nitty-gritties. Is it good for the people? Is it an agenda that resonates well with the economic prevailing circumstances? But if you are a person who simply says yes, then there's no need having a cabinet minister. And I felt that I felt a little bit low when I heard this, because I believe that democracy demands that even at the cabinet level, for them to come out with mature policies, then they must be allowed to disagree and agree and discuss. You see, this is what we have seen in Parliament, where William Ruto comes with a bill, Finance Bill 2023, tick. Finance Bill 2024, tick. Impeach Rigathi Gachagua, tick. I mean, that is not the kind of a country that we need to have. And that's why I've always said that we need a vehicle that will carry everyone. We really need forces of change, because even if we complain up to next year, if we don't take action to change the country, to change the leadership, then there's nothing we are doing. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that is the fear. It could be the sad reality about our government, that Ruto is everything. He is everything at the cabinet. He is everything at the judiciary. He is everything at the legislative arm of the government, in parliament. He is everything everywhere. He is everything. Even when ambassadors are there, he does what they're supposed to do. No wonder you can blame certain cabinet members, yet they are not allowed to do certain things. And I'm also told that William Ruto would love to be with people he can control, people who are half-baked, because he does not want people who are mature enough, intellectuals who can drive change. Tell me, the advisors that were elected, people like ND, are they doing anything despite the amount the amount of huge money that they take home? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.